Hey, how's it going guys? Captain Kuba here, and the day is finally here. I'm finally announcing the winners of my art contest. At first I was really worried that I was only going to get like 5 entries, but it turns out that hundreds of artists wanted to participate in my rinky-dink of a contest. But before we get started, I wanted to say something more serious. What Russia is doing to the Ukrainian people is quite horrible. Both innocent people and especially children are getting hurt. So if you're from the Ukraine or know someone who is, my heart goes out to you and I hope this conflict gets resolved soon. So to all of those who have been affected by what's happening recently, I hope these beautiful God of War entries can at least distract you from what's going on for a few minutes. With that said though, sit back and enjoy some really creative artists show off their amazing talents. The entries you're seeing on the screen at the moment are the ones that didn't quite make it. This doesn't mean that they were bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that I had a lot of artists who entered this contest and I couldn't pick everyone as a winner, so I had to make the hard decision to leave some of them out. But don't worry, because throughout the coming months, I will be sharing all of these amazing fan arts on my Twitter and Instagram, so other God of War fans can truly enjoy them. And if you think I've made a bad decision in not choosing these entries, the best way you can help these artists is by following them yourself on social media. I will be leaving all of their links in the description below. So with that said though, let's get this party started. Starting off our list, we have an entry that provides a very interesting take on the character of Tyr. It shows him detaching someone's control center from their body. And at first you might find this image a bit weird, since Tyr is a peaceful god, and while that's true, he is also the Norse god of war. And I'm sure he has been in many situations where cutting someone's head was necessary. I'm sure we're going to see Tyr fight in God of War Ragnarok, and if Santa Monica depicts him like this, I'm not gonna have any complaints. I also have to give Ariana an extra point for taking the initiative of giving Tyr a brand new weapon and not just a regular spear. And while there's not much within this entry for me to talk about, I still enjoyed the concept as well as the technique. For example, the motion of Tyr's sword has a nice enchanting effect. But that's just it. I think this is a perfect recreation of Tyr, depicting him in a different light. But I just wish there were more awesome characters with this level of attention to detail to be showcased in the image as well. But with that said though, I can't deny the passion and finesse behind every stroke. This drawing truly gets me hyped about seeing Tyr fight in the next game. Which is why I thought it was the best entry to get us started with all of these amazing fan arts. So let's get to number 9. When I announced this art contest, I was expecting a lot of depictions of places and boss fights with very important characters. Which I did, by the way. So you will understand why the number 9 spot was such a refreshing entry. This art piece was created by Brandon and is simply titled God is Hell. It depicts the moment in the story when Hell opens a portal and finally meets her father and grandfather. In Norse mythology, Hell is always depicted as being half beautiful woman and half zombie. Brandon took this concept and gave it an original spin. With this entry, he proposes the idea that Odin cursed Hell to forever be afflicted with frigid blue skin on one half and the appearance of a dying tree on the other. This idea of the dying tree is beautifully hammered down in the 3 branches surrounding her. And the addition of the arms of the dead lifting her cloak so it doesn't touch the ground is a beautiful and brilliant idea to convey the level of authority she holds over the dead. Brandon did an amazing job coming up with this original take on the goddess of Helheim that truly feels like it comes from a God of War game. If Santa Monica ends up designing her in a similar way, once again I will not be disappointed. Now, I really wanted to place this entry higher in the list, but sadly I was left feeling like there was something missing on the left side of the image. I understand the focal point is Hell, but I just wish there was more happening with Kratos and Atreus. But that's just my opinion, feel free to disagree with me guys. But overall, Brandon, you did a really amazing job creating a brand new character that feels true to the God of War series. For the number 8 spot, we have a Ragnarok scene that we're all eagerly expecting, the fight between Kratos and Thor. There's honestly not much I can say about this entry. I received a lot, and I mean a lot of Kratos vs Thor entries, and the fact that this one made it into the top 10 is a testament of how good it is. Chat has nailed the energy and tone of fight between these two gods will have, both equally matched, ready to end the other's life. The attention to detail in this drawing is off the charts. And funny enough, the place I see this the most is in the addition of Thor's love handles. This drawing also feels like it has weight. Even though this is a still image, I can feel the force behind Thor's punch. And the addition of lightning that resembles the one from Zeus was a nice touch to signify the importance of this fight. Or maybe he just wanted them yellow. Either way, they look really nice. The The only thing I would have added to make this entry even better is something Chad already told me he was going to do, but sadly didn't have enough time to finish it. He was thinking of having Jormungandr and a few other gods and giants fighting in the background, which would have made it an amazing depiction of Ragnarok itself. The addition of those characters might have pushed this entry a bit more, but as it stands right now, this is still an amazing fan art depicting a moment every God of War fan is dying to see. So congratulations Chad, out of hundreds of Kratos vs Thor entries, yours made it in the top 10, and that says a lot, my friend. For the number 7 spot, we have an entry by Roel, and it's one that I didn't see coming. According to him, this moment takes place after Atreus meets his son Fenrir, and while they're talking to each other, Tyr's real motives are revealed. Unlike Kratos and Atreus, he believes Ragnarok can't be stopped. To Kratos and Atreus' surprise, Tyr has some impressive magical abilities like being able to mind control Fenrir and recall the Leviathan axe as well as Kratos' Blades of Chaos. This leaves Kratos no choice but to use a brand new weapon crafted by Brock and Sindri that resembles a weapon of his youth, the Arms of Sparta. I really appreciate this new take on Tyr as a villain. I ultimately don't think this will happen, but it's interesting seeing how other people think about these characters. With that said though, the attention to detail and creativity in this entry is just amazing. Everything from Mimir's scared face to Tyr's magical tattoos holding Fenrir's mind captive is very well done. In this entry, there's always something interesting to look at. I especially love the small detail of having one of Fenrir's eyes glowing to convey the idea that he's being mind controlled by Tyr. I also love that Raul designed a brand new weapon for Kratos inspired by one of the older games in the series. Now, the only reason this entry doesn't rank higher in the list is due to the background. I think choosing a light brown color for the background doesn't allow Fenrir to pop more since they both have a very similar color scheme. But other than that, this entry depicts a moment in the game that I would love to see 100%. For the number 6 spot, we have an entry that's not a fight nor detaching of someone's control center. It's one that will make you a calm and reasonable person. Kratos attempting to communicate with Fenrir through Mimir. This entry was obviously inspired by the moments Mimir communicates with Jormungandr in God of War 2018. So for the next game in the series, Oliver imagines that Atreus will somehow get lost in the events of the story, and this will leave Kratos no choice but to seek the help of Fenrir, his grandson. Now, I don't really know much about different art styles, I don't really keep up with the art world that way, and because of that, I'm not really sure what to call this art style, but all I know is that I freaking love it. It looks like he took a canvas and threw paint at it and somehow a beautiful image came out of it. And the use of color is one of the best ones I've seen. The grass, the rocks, and the sunlight breaking in through the trees is just breathtaking. In a game series that's mostly known for its violence and its over-the-top scenarios, it's nice to see a fan depict the game in a more relaxing tone. The only thing I would have done differently is flip the characters so Kratos' red tattoos would be visible. Because I know this is a God of War fan art, but someone who's new to the series might not recognize it right away. But other than that, Oliver, this image is amazing and I'm glad I can share it with you guys here. For the number 5 spot, we have what I think is the best portrayal of the fight between Kratos and Thor. From the looks of it, this fight takes place very early in the game as both Kratos and Thor still have their cloaks on. And from a visual standpoint, I don't think this drawing is much different from all the other Kratos vs Thor entries I received. The thing that really stood out to me in this entry was the use of color. On the left side of the image you see the red of Kratos' clothes as well as the fire from his blades. And on the right side you see the blue of Thor's cloak as well as his lightning. I might be reading too much into it, but it gives you the sense of two cosmic forces clashing with each other. The characters are also beautifully realized. The anger of Kratos' face is felt even though this is only a drawing. And Thor's semi-concealed face is a nice detail to Thor's current elusive role in the series. Out of all of the Kratos vs Thor entries, this is the one that got me the most hyped while also maintaining a high level of quality in its attention to detail and use of color. Gjorn, man, you did an amazing job, so congratulations on making it this high on the list. Now, as you guys know, for this art contest, I am the one who's deciding which entries make it into the top 10. For future art contests, I might have an artist helping me out with his or her professional opinion, but even though I am the one who's ultimately deciding in this contest, I couldn't help myself. So I called my family and a few of my friends and asked them to pick their top 5 entries. And this is one that always made it into their list, and I agree with them 100%. This entry was created by Anna and is simply titled The Eldest. It shows both Atreus and Angrboda coming across their first son, Fenrir. And at first this entry might seem very simple, but the impact would linger on for hours, at least that's what happened to me. It shows Fenrir being magically bound with glowing ropes as a sword prevents him from ever closing his mouth. This is such a faithful retelling of the Norse mythology story that even the River of Drool makes an appearance. The only difference in this entry being the addition of Atreus and Angrboda gazing up at his son with a deep sadness. And let me just say, thank you for including Angrboda in your art entry. I must have received around hundreds of entries and maybe only 3 feature her. Now from a technical point of view, this entry should also be admired. Everything from the lighting, to Fenrir's face as 2 strangers approach him, and oh my god of war, the shadow casted on Atreus and Angrboda is just an amazing detail. This entry almost made it into the top 3, which is why I would feel really bad if I don't give Anna at least a shout out right here. So make sure to check out her Instagram page. She doesn't have a lot of followers right now, and that's just a shame. It's not often you get to witness the growth of an artist in real time, and I believe this is exactly what's going to happen with her. Her art is just going to get better and better with time, and it would be really awesome if you guys help her achieve this milestone. Can't wait to see more of your art in the future, Anna. Now before we get to the top 3 winners, I want to give a shout out to the entries that almost made it into the top 10. And when I say almost, I really mean it. First is Ernie's entry, who submitted a picture of a Thor action figure ready to fight Kratos. Making action figures is something he specializes in, and this truly shows in Thor's attention to detail. Next is Iruji, who 3D modeled what Freyja's Valkyrie armor might look like in God of War Ragnarok. He even sent me a time-lapse of his creation, and the amount of work he put in is crazy. And the last honorable mention we have is from my good friend Hedgehog Flies. His entry was a short audiobook of the first encounter between Kratos and Thor, and the voice acting is just top-notch as always.
Ghost of Sparta, killer of kin. Did you really think your home would be safe after all you've done?
Killer of kin? Father, what's he talking about?
There's no need for further bloodshed. You want to talk? Fine. Let's talk. You seem like a calm and reasonable person.
Again, if you think these entries should have made it into the top 10, you can let me know in the comment section below. But please, make sure you follow their work. That's honestly the best way to support them, and it will definitely put a smile on their face. With that said though, let's get to the top 3 winners. At the number 3 spot, we have Cat Lego's depiction of the Ragnarok battle. I will be honest with you, at first this image was kinda jarring to look at, but when I started looking at it closely, the God of War fan in me just started geeking out. Cat Lego has pretty much drawn the portal scene from Avengers in the God of War universe. On the far corner you see Valkyries, dragons, Surtur, Jormungandr, and of course, the focus of the drawing can be found on Kratos and Atreus. Atreus is riding a magical stag, just like we see him do in the trailer, and he's now wielding the Leviathan axe. Why? I don't care, it looks amazing. This has to be one of the coolest depictions of Atreus I've ever seen, and it gets me really excited for a possible spin-off game with him. And then we have Kratos sporting his awesome Norse attire, and for some reason wielding the Gauntlet of Zeus. Why? I don't care, it looks amazing. Maybe Tyr opened a portal to Greece and Kratos was able to retrieve it, but that doesn't matter. I'm just glad he featured this awesome weapon in his entry. Now, at first, I was surprised that not a lot of artists submitted an entry depicting Ragnarok, you know, the name of the game. But now I know why. The amount of characters on display here, as well as the attention to detail necessary, is astronomical, and Cat Lego did an amazing job of landing this plane of a project. Cat Lego is currently open for commission work, so if you need any art done, make sure to get in contact with him on Instagram or Twitter. This guy's a big deal, okay? Not only is he a master of this stylized art form, but he has also competed in Batty's contest. You know, the inspiration behind this contest. So if you need any art done, make sure to message him via the links in the description below. Or hey, if you want to show your support for his art, you can do that by following him regardless. Everyone watching this video is anxiously waiting to know what will be the fate of all of these characters we love so much. The main 3 are obviously Kratos, Atreus, and Freyja. And while I've always said that Freyja will come to her senses and join Kratos and Atreus to stop the threat of the Aesir gods, well, that's not what Hadar imagines will happen. For our number 2 entry, we have a depiction of Kratos mourning the death of Freyja after he had no choice but to stop her permanently. Once again, this is something I don't think will happen in the game, But if it were to happen, at least I'm expecting this level of emotion in the cutscene. Because Freyja's not like any of the other enemies Kratos has had to deal with. Freyja was actually his friend. She even saved his son's life. The only reason things have turned out the way they have is because of family. But I'm sure Kratos feels a connection with Freyja that would definitely lead him to tear up if she were to die. Something I always thought would look bad for Kratos. But somehow, Hadar has found the balance of depicting Kratos as a hardcore Spartan warrior and as someone who cares for those close to him. Hadar also nails how the aftermath of this battle would look like. Blood everywhere, Freyja's sword's runes still emanating power from within, and Kratos still holding one of her bloody wings with one hand is such a cool callback to the Valkyrie executions from the previous game. Look, the truth is, I could talk about every single detail in this drawing until the cows come home. Like the fact that Hadar did proper research on the Valkyries to know their wings are mechanical, or the beautiful shine in the drops of blood, or how his chains transition from a fiery orange to a cooler color. This fan art is simply amazing. And the good news is, you can see all of his creations on his Instagram page. I would like to say that for the most part, he specializes in designing characters, so if you need any art done for your D&D character, video game character, book character, any character you need, make sure to message him via the links below. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. With that said though, it's time to get to the number 1 spot. The drawing you're seeing at the moment was created by Loris Rask, and it depicts the moment Kratos, Atreus and Tyr meet Fenrir in God of War Ragnarok. The scene you see here is something that many God of War fans, including myself, believe. There's no way in Helheim that Fenrir is going to trust an Aesir god. This would lead to a fight and Tyr will eventually lose his hand, just like in the mythology. On another part of the drawing, we see Kratos playing a different role. In the first game, he was still teaching Atreus how to be a better warrior. And this is a progress we saw throughout the whole game. But now in God of War Ragnarok, things are going to be a little bit different. Atreus is going to have a lot more responsibilities and independence as a warrior. Which is why I think Loris depict him as instructing Atreus where to shoot instead of just dealing with the problem himself. And that's a really cool detail showing the progression of these characters in the story. And with this art entry, I think I realized something really cool about the process of making art. When I first got the entry I said, it's great, but why are there some parts out of focus? And then I realized that the unfocused areas are there to give you the feeling of how Atreus sees this moment play out. The parts that are focused are the ones he's focusing on as an archer, like his father giving him instructions and Fenrir, his target. Yeah, the moment I saw this one, I was pretty sure it was going to win. In my opinion, this is the best entry because it gives us a really meaningful moment for both of these characters as well as the mythology, all the while still maintaining attention to detail, amazing shading, and use of color to set up proper mood. This entry is easily the most well-rounded fan art I saw in this contest, and in my opinion, it rightly deserves the first place. So please, the first thing I have to say is, follow Loris on Instagram and ArtStation. She's a criminally underrated artist and we need to make her presence on social media much bigger. I should also say she's open for commission work. So if you need anything drawn, make sure to get in contact with her via the links in the description below. You will not regret working with her. So there you have it guys, my top 10 winners of the God of War Ragnarok art contest. I hope you enjoyed all of these entries. I sure had a lot of fun waking up every day to emails showing me amazing fan arts. There's honestly so many amazing entries that almost made the cut. I hope all of these artists continue to challenge themselves and improve their craft, which I'm sure they'll do. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone who put in the hard work and time to submit an entry. I hope to see you guys again in another contest. Now I personally want to thank a couple people that helped me spread the word about this contest. First of all, my loyal subscribers, as well as BT Block Thunder, a great artist in his own right. Also, Dynamic Art Club, an Instagram page dedicated to sharing amazing art with their community. And last but not least, God of War TV. Also an Instagram page for hardcore God of War fans with a YouTube channel with the same purpose. So please, make sure to thank them personally for their help with this contest. All of the links for these wonderful people will be provided in the description below. But as always, I want to give a big thanks to every single one of my channel members for supporting this channel the way they do. Thanks to your monthly support, I am able to try out new things in this channel such as art contests. I really couldn't have done this without your support. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I would also like to thank everyone who likes and shares my videos. It doesn't seem like much, but trust me, it really does help. And with that said, thanks for watching. And remember, go forth in the name of Ragnarok.